This is my favorite, most productive base. Used to be the safest. There's a sinkhole up there and some company. So as soon as I can, when I get active enough to get down here, I come down. To the cockpit on this little island with company to the north and company to the west. Not too much to the east, but if I go back down, I can find plenty of action, but I find everything else that I want. When I first came here several versions ago, this water was deep all the way around. You had to swim. Cannibals couldn't come across it. About version 56 or 57, I heard a beating on my door and looked out, and there were 3 big cannibals there trying to break into my base. Since then, I have started building a rock wall around. I have plenty of time. But when I come around, one of my favorite weapons is in here, which is the flare gun. But it only has 4 replacement flares and 10 inside. What I do is immediately when I have the supplies, I build a small fire. I build the 14 stick shelter outside. There's plenty of food around so I can cook and save. Don't hit the sleep because of course that destroys that little shelter. So this is about 40, 50 days into the game. But I put this inside, put my big shelter inside, put my drying rack inside. That pretty much saves it from whatever eats my food. And then I can slowly start building. From up here, see, we have the sinkhole up there, and straight ahead where the tall trees are, just to the right of that are those 2 caves. The one that goes, well, both of them go down into the, getting near the bottom of the sinkhole. And of course across that isthmus, straight ahead this way, across the waterway is the Chasm Cave. From the top here to the north, you've got a rocky hill. It's very active. And on top of it are 6 holders, 6 suitcases full of, with 3 flares each. So you can come here, run up on the hill, get your 10 flares, use them carefully, because after those are gone, you have to find them laying around or in caves. Over that hill, back where you see the tallest tree, you'll find another ground cave. Up this way, right here where the waterway starts, on the right is a small village. Not very active and not much there except skullheads. And in the trees behind it are quite often you'll find aloe and coneflowers, sometimes marigold and chicory. We'll take a look at those. I have a lot of logs and stuff here and a lot of rocks. The reason for that is I have a very, very good log source to the southeast down here. So when I come, none of this is here. First thing I do is make my safe base inside, get my flare gun, and then I have to have more sticks and logs if I want to build much. You really don't need to because it's fairly safe if you put a wall across this end of the lagoon. So the next thing I do is swim across. This becomes a busy place a little later. But at first it's just a great place to come and get food. Have your spear working. Rabbits are hard to get anyway, but you can get them here if you can use your spear. Down this side of this lagoon, besides all the land animals, you have scattered fishing areas, and it moves. Sometimes they will be down here, sometimes they'll be up the other way. You just have to walk along here until you see them. There they are now. Might as well grab them and the company. So I can either fight him or go ahead with my tour, which I think I will go ahead with my tour. Hard to kill. And there's usually a bunch of them. Let's go on down here, and normally when I first get here there aren't too many cannibals. Let's rest. She'll go look for help. Okay. So I walk right down the side of the lagoon to my personal forest. And again, when the game first starts, it's not too active. But I come down and build a raft, put some log holders on it, build a log sled, go up here in the woods and chop down trees. Because normally at that time I won't have the chainsaw. But right up that way, along the cliff, if you follow that around and go on south a little bit, you'll be in the big village. So when it starts getting active, you might as well leave. right now, a little earlier when I was working here, a horde of 8 came along. Let's So then I come down and with the small raft first, I used to fill it up, but I found out that they've made these rafts pretty unstable. But when the cannibals get after you and too many to fight, and when the big uglies come along, the water is here and you can run into it, and of course, usually they can't swim. But over there is the forest, and I can get all the logs I need. And every time I come by here, I blow down a few trees or chop them down, put them in the log sled, or just leave them on the ground and get out of the area, because it's not unlikely that you would get an Armsy or Virginia or whatever. But it gets busy. On this side, you have a big field, and it's pretty much peaceful. I'll say that, didn't get attacked, and I have been attacked 2 or 3 times. But once again, it's easy to run over the bank and swim across to the other side. What I like to come over here for are medications. And you'll get marigold and chicory, coneflower, and quite often you'll get some aloe. But you do get lizards, you do get birds, you do get rabbits. And if you're walking, what I do is quite often is come down the other side and get food, swim over and go up this side and get food and medications, and then go back across to the home base. One of those slick things. I want to row home, and then we'll take another look. Looks like we might be able to row all the way home. I'll say that, and then that front end will go down. I'll be looking for the E icon underwater for a while. Okay. I don't have this base anywhere near finished yet. And I don't usually do it for the architectural detail. I do it because I can build it big enough with all the logs available, and I can wander around in here. And I can wall it up if I want to. If the cannibals somehow or other start coming around. So inside I have an explosives rack that I don't have much stuff on yet. I have a spare stick box that I have to fill up, because one thing I found out is you can't run out of sticks. You'll freeze to death or die of hunger if you aren't careful with it. I have an explosives bench over here. I have run out of fire arrows and explosives down here once. Not fine at all. And I've built a little safety room with some food and some meds. Barred window. And I put a deer hide over this one to keep the cannibals across the way from peeking in. And a good rabbit fur bed. And they're not likely to come in the front way here. And I can get up on top this way. Unfortunately, I also found out that the cannibals can climb up on top of the cockpit, which when I first started building here, they could not do. I'll take a nap, and then tomorrow we'll take a look at the other things that make this such a good base. Let's take a look at the I like the M131 at night and in my caves. But for those that like contact, this is a place. After you've been here for 8 or 9 days, they'll start coming over here and putting up their effigies. They come across the thin part of the water there where the rocks start, go up the hillside and over into a little valley. Good fishing pond on the other side, but you sure be lucky to get in and out without a lot of contact. And the beautiful view of the mountains in the background. And there is a cave over there, as I've said, that we can take a quick look at, but there's other things over here. Okay, among the things I like here, by the way, I build effigies and they don't seem to affect them any. They just come over here and build bigger ones and wait for me to get caught on that side. As I said, this is pretty busy. There's the visitors, and here's the flare canisters. He didn't like me. There are some meds over here. And right here are a couple of tents, coneflower, got a chicory back there. Don't want to mess with him. I want to look around. Here's this pond with a lot of good fishing in it. And as I said, there's medications all over the place here. But it's a little bit dangerous to get them. You got to be getting really sick. Get him with the axe just as he quits blazing. Hey, nice Rainbow and his wife. I'll carry the axe. I tried to make it faster, but and I put stuff on put teeth and stuff on the blade. It's pretty fast, but not as fast as a katana. But it's very good for blocking, so I can block with it and do a one-shot kill like that one. Now, another thing I like about this base, besides that that cave over there and the pond where I can get fish, but I don't have to, is I come over here and I go into a crouch mode, full stealth. Put a blocker on my head, and from the nose of the cockpit I come across and go straight towards this cliff face up here. Now there's all kinds of activity on the hill, but quite often I can crouch along here and not get caught, not have to fight, and not have to run. But I'm fully loaded with stealth stuff, leaves and lizard skin. And usually they will come from the right, but not always. Okay, let's run a little bit. It's up near the top here, but right along the cliff face is a very good cave. It's very good because it's safe. Or it used to be. I was a little cautious the first time. Well, I was scared. But I'm scared every time I come down. Well, I don't know what they put here. So I've dropped some lighting. I don't see anything or hear anything. And I can always use cloth. And there are parts of the game that you can pick up there. So you slide down that rope, you come straight across, and there's a rope over here. You can climb this rope safely, or you always could, and here you can go left or right. And down there you have a couple of cannibals, and you'll have maybe an Armsy or a Vagina or something ugly that you're going to have to fight. But if you don't pay attention to them and you go left, totally safe so far. Work your way down the wooden platforms. Have to crouch to get through. And you're in a nice, safe little cave. You'll want to explore around because there's a lot of interesting things here, including a couple of bottles of booze. There's a nice fire. There's some cash to burn. There's a spare flare. There's some meds. That's why I put meds in the storage in my bases, because there's quite a bit of it around down here. There's some watches down here for your digital bombs. And for those of you that don't have it, come down here and look around, and you will find the katana. So if you need it, it's a free run for it from the base at the cockpit. I'll just get out of here and go back to the base to show you the next things. Okay, back at the top of the cave, this can be dangerous, so I look around carefully. And then I want to have water and I want to have food. And you can see right along the cliff face back to the cockpit. Let's try the stealth walk again. I don't need that lighter. But if I get attacked here, it's fairly easy to stand up and run fast for the water. Or, if there's not too many of them, you stand and fight. Or just fight if that's what you want to do. But it might start out with 1 or 3, but it turns into 8 in a hurry. And they don't seem to stand back and watch as much, the cannibals. You might have 2 or more hitting you at the same time. Pick up rocks. No sticks out here, but rocks. And I put a couple of traps on this side, and they know what they are now. Unless they're moving fast, they will just ignore those traps. And I put some leaf traps, and I can shoot a fire arrow from my base and get them in trouble if they're being a problem. Use up the rocks. Well, I can't get over. Okay, I'll swim around. And I may have to extend that out further this way. I was standing up on top and looking down, I noticed at the bottom seems to be a little bit closer to the top. And the houseboat I built here just because I was practicing building a houseboat in a very safe place where I could get all the logs I wanted, which I could down at my private forest. But you don't want to be out after dark. So let's take a look at this side. And this is up to the northeast. And we're going to run out of daylight. I'll run up this little village and run into trouble. Last time I did this, I was in a hurry and I turned the corner here and all three of the big uglies and 6 or 8 of their helpers were there. Okay, coming up this way, you have the base down there, and up here you have what I call the missionary camp. There's Bibles and religious knickknacks around. On both sides of this little thing, little lagoon, which ends up there, and then go across an area to the ocean. But you'll find on that side in particular lizards and rabbits. I've not run across any cannibals over there, but I've had a couple chase me over there. On this side, you have a very nice cave. And you will need your rebreather, but there's all kinds of interesting things down there and 2 or 3 different caverns that you can explore. Okay. But it's very busy along here most of the time. I seldom make this run without having to run away from cannibals. Out here, you can see the base over there. I'm going to put the rebreather on because right up there is the village. Here's that little island. And you wade in here, and there's a hole in the bottom, which is a cave. I said you will need your rebreather, of course, because I don't think you can swim your way through it without a rebreather. Seems to me it's a long way. So there's home, and you can see why this is one of my favorite places. The adventures are here, and I don't have to go far to find a cave.